if you don't replace the furnace filter often enough? It will blow up. I'm only sort of joking. If the filter is clogged, no air can get through and the AC pipes could freeze or the blower motor could overheat. Hey friend, it's Amy on A Lolly Life, and when you're motivated, there is nothing you can't do, including changing the furnace filter, which just happens to be the topic of today's video. I'm going to break down replacing the furnace filter into 5 steps, and the first one is turning off the unit. Sometimes there's a light switch that turns off the furnace and air conditioner unit. You could use the thermostat, or you could flip the breaker in the breaker box. The reason this is important is because you don't want the unit to flip on while you're changing the filter. Not only does the suction make it difficult to pull the air filter out, but when you're pulling the air filter out, you're more likely to knock some of the debris off into the unit, and well, you don't want to do that. Actually, you should not run your air conditioner, heater, that unit without a filter. Number 2, locate the filter. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. I love treasure hunts. Well, except for looking for lost things like car keys and the phone, and then in that case, I do not love treasure hunts. I actually only love treasure hunts when they involve things like maps and pirates and Illuminati and ancient temples and treasure. Treasure's the important part. Treasure. The furnace filter is between the large return and the main unit or blower. Sometimes if your furnace is in the attic, then the furnace filter might be in the ceiling or in the wall in a large air return grate. The filter is not in the heating vents where the air is being sent out to heat or cool your house, because the air needs to be cleaned before it is heated or cooled. Number 3, open the access panel. Sometimes the filter doesn't come out easily. Like I said, if the furnace is on, then the suction will make it difficult to pull out, but sometimes the filters just fit in there weird, or we're shoved in wonky, and so it's really difficult to get the furnace filter out. Be careful how you pull it out, because you don't want to shake off all the dust into the furnace. Number 4, which filter should you use? And this is actually a really hard one, because it really depends on your situation. The middle or low-end filters allow the most airflow, and the high-end filters filter out more things. Sometimes you need more airflow, and sometimes you need it to filter out more things. It just depends on the situation. I'm going to give you some examples of what I'm talking about, but first, let's talk about the MERV rating. MERV stands for My Exclusive Reminder to Like This Video. Haha, see, there you go. My exclusive reminder to like this video. Actually, MERV rating is minimum efficiency report value. It's not nearly as exciting as my exclusive reminder to like my video, but it is what it actually stands for. The higher the number, the more filtration it has. The lower the number, the more often you have to replace it. Oftentimes, furnace filters say things like up to 90 days of airflow or up to so-and-so days of airflow. And up to means that can vary depending on the situation in your house. It can be different, and you might have to replace your air filter more often. Do you have allergies or pet dander that you need to filter out? Or if your furnace or AC is running continuously, and if you have construction in the area, particularly if you're doing drywall work in your house, or if you have a lot of traffic by your house. You might think that the super filter is the best filter, and it might be for you, or it might not be. These are some things you need to take into consideration when you're trying to decide if you want to buy the super filter or if you want to buy the lower end filter. Are you really good about making sure your furnace filter is changed regularly? If you buy the super high end filter and you don't change the filter frequently, then it can get so clogged that the airflow is restricted to the point that it causes a burden on the unit, and your heater and air conditioner just won't last as long. If your unit is having trouble keeping up with extra hot or extra frigid temperatures, then you can use a thinner filter which allows for really good airflow, and it makes it easier for the unit to keep up with the really hot or really cold temperatures. And then later, when it's not quite so hot or quite so cold, maybe you could switch back to a medium grade filter. You need to get the correct size of filter. If it's too big, then it won't fit in the unit, and if it's too small, then the air will blow around it and it will let debris into the system. You might leave a note on the outside for easy future reference on what the furnace filter size is. It's like a little clue on your map. So anytime that we head out to maybe a big box store, or we're going to order it on Amazon, a new furnace filter, we can easily peek at it and we know exactly the right size to get. You can buy furnace filters in bulk either at the big box stores or on Amazon. It's a lot easier to remember to change the filter. It only takes a couple of minutes if you already have the filter. You can write the date that you replace the filter on your new filter, and then you know what day you started using that new filter. And then when you have those moments where you're like, have I changed the furnace filter recently? You can peek and check, and you know. If your filter is hard to get in and out, you can create a little tape tab to help you pull the furnace filter in and out when you go to replace it. We finally made it to number 5, which is putting the furnace filter in the correct direction. There are arrows on the furnace filter that tell you which direction you should put it in. It is important to make sure that those arrows are pointed in the correct direction. The arrows need to be pointed towards the blower or the furnace, not towards the air return part. If it's hard for you to remember which side is the air return and which side is the furnace, you can use your Sharpie to draw a little arrow that indicates which directions the arrow on the furnace filter should be pointing. If I were to draw an arrow, it would be pointing down, so that I know that the arrows on the furnace filter should be pointing down. After you've replaced the filter and you've put the lid back on, you turn the unit back on. Don't forget to do that, or else you will soon find that it's extra cold or extra hot. If you're missing the door that covers the furnace filter, then you should replace it or cover it up or something. Do something. You can put a piece of wood over it or a piece of cardboard or something. We usually change our furnace filter twice a year. In the spring, just before we turn on the air conditioning, and in the fall, just before we turn on the heater. Something else that might work for you as far as remembering to change your furnace filter is you can write it on your calendar. Or I guess nowadays people don't have paper calendars as often. You can type it into your calendar. And so every 6 months, a little notification comes up that says, change the furnace filter. I have to admit that most of the time, changing the furnace filter is something that my hubby does for me. And for that, I am very, very thankful. However, knowing how to do something is ennobling and liberating. Those are just like fancy words that mean you feel more confident in your ability to handle hard situations when you know how to do things independently. Something else that's easier to do when you've had someone show you how is getting the oil changed in your car. Click on the video in the corner to find out exactly what you need to know to feel confident when you go get your oil changed. If learning to be more independent is important to you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Lolly Life family. I'm so glad you're here. You make a difference for me. My life is better because of you. Be safe and be good, and I'll see you on the next episode of A Lolly Life.